when my wife tried her hilarious brunch joke saying, "Okay, girls, what's the actual difference between my husband and a doormat?" Everyone waited to laugh. I just stood up and said, "A doormat stays put when you walk on it. I'm walking out." I left quietly, and the table went silent. Before the real mess starts, quick favor. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and smash that hype button so the story gets the attention it deserves. The autumn sunlight warmed my face as I stepped through the cafe door. My hands weren't shaking, my heart wasn't racing. That surprised me most of all. Behind me, I heard the scrape of chairs and Melanie's voice rising in that particular pitch she used when embarrassed, trying to laugh it off, trying to reclaim control of her audience. I kept walking. My truck sat 3 blocks away. I'd parked far on purpose that morning, sensing something bad would happen. Melanie had been too cheerful, too insistent I join her and the girls for brunch at the Grove, this overpriced place where everything came with foam and the waiters called you friend. She never invited me to these things. That should have been my first clue. The second clue was Haley Brooks sitting at the head of the table when I arrived, wearing that smirk she always wore, the one that said she knew something you didn't. Haley was Melanie's closest friend, which meant she was also the chief architect of most of Melanie's worst ideas. I drove home in silence. No radio, no podcasts, just the hum of tires on asphalt and my own thoughts arranging themselves into something new, something cold and clear. She thinks I'm leaving the table. She has no idea I'm leaving much more than that. Our apartment looked exactly as I'd left it 2 hours earlier. Dishes in the sink from last night's takeout, Melanie's work clothes thrown over the couch, a stack of mail I'd sorted sitting unopened on the counter because she never bothered with bills. I paid them. I paid everything. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I was an environmental scientist, spent most of my time in the field studying watershed patterns and conservation data. The work taught you patience, it taught you to observe without interfering, to wait for patterns to reveal themselves, to understand that everything in nature has consequences. People were part of nature too. They just forgot that sometimes. Melanie came home 3 hours later. I heard her key in the lock, heard her shoes hit the floor in the entryway, heard her sigh as she dropped her purse on the counter. "Austin," she called, "in here." She appeared in the kitchen doorway. She'd changed her outfit since brunch, I noticed. The blue dress was gone, replaced by yoga pants and an oversized sweater that definitely wasn't mine. Her hair was different too, pulled up instead of down. "Hey," she said, casual, like nothing had happened. "Did you eat?" "Not hungry." She opened the refrigerator, stared inside for 30 seconds without taking anything out, then closed it. This was her usual routine. She'd managed a commercial cleaning company for 4 years, but couldn't clean our own apartment. Couldn't cook. Couldn't do laundry without shrinking or staining everything. I'd stopped asking her to help with household tasks 2 years ago because it was easier to do them myself than to redo them after she tried. "So, about brunch," she started. "Don't. Austin, come on, it was just a joke. The girls thought it was funny." I looked at her then, really looked. When had her eyes started sliding away from mine when we talked? When had her phone become surgically attached to her hand? When had she stopped asking about my day, my work, my thoughts? "I'm sure they did," I said. She rolled her eyes. Classic Melanie. "You're being dramatic. You embarrassed me walking out like that." "I embarrassed you?" "Yes. Haley kept asking what was wrong with you." "Nothing's wrong with me, Melanie. That's the problem." She didn't understand. I could see the confusion cross her face, followed quickly by irritation. She didn't like things she couldn't understand, couldn't control. "Whatever," she said. "I'm going to shower." She left. I heard the bathroom door close, heard the water start. I opened my laptop again and started making notes. Small observations. Timeline inconsistencies. Financial questions. The phone bill, for instance. We had a family plan. I'd noticed over the past 2 months that her data usage had tripled. Lots of streaming, I'd assumed. Lots of social media with the girls. But now I wondered. The next week passed in an odd quiet. Melanie worked late and spent every evening locked in the bedroom on her phone. I worked, came home, and organized our finances, watching patterns form. On Thursday, she asked for money. "Haley's car needs repairs. Can I lend her $200? "No," she bristled. "It's my money, too." "When was the last time you paid rent?" She had no answer. She stormed off. 30 minutes later, our joint account showed a $300 ATM withdrawal. I smiled, not happily, but knowingly. The next day at a field site, I noticed a black luxury sedan parked far from the trailheads. California plates, tinted windows, too polished and expensive for this area. I saw the driver, late 30s, slick hair, expensive sunglasses. He didn't notice me. Something was wrong. Back home, I checked our credit card. A $340 charge at the Velvet Room, an upscale jazz venue Melanie and I had never visited. She'd claimed she was out with the girls that night. In her purse, she'd left a ticket stub, Harmony Studios, 2 weeks old, a private showcase. I searched the studio online, owned by a local music producer named Cole Haverly, 40-something, curated artistic look, photos with performers and minor celebrities. In a gallery photo from a party 3 months ago, I spotted Melanie in the background, wearing a dress I didn't recognize, a music producer. That's who she'd traded me for. I dug further. Cole was married. His wife, Juliana, an accountant. 2 kids. Her photos showed a serious, steady woman. I sat in the quiet apartment thinking. Confronting Melanie would get me nowhere. Cole would deny everything. I'd seem paranoid. No. If I did this, I had to do it properly. I needed leverage, proof, allies. And Juliana Haverly deserved to know who her husband really was. Contacting Juliana required care. I couldn't just drop evidence on her. That would look unhinged. I needed empathy, restraint, and the awareness that I was about to break her world the way mine had been broken. I found her work email and drafted 6 versions before settling on something simple. Mrs. Haverly, my name is Austin Ridge. I believe our spouses know each other through music connections. I've discovered information I think you should know. I'm not a scammer. I'd prefer to share this in person at a public place of your choosing. If you're not interested, I won't contact you again. Austin. I sent it Friday morning. By evening, she replied, Coffee. Sunday. Elman 3rd. 2 o'clock. Come alone. Sunday was cold and gray. I arrived early. Juliana walked in exactly at 2, jeans, blazer, hair pulled back, no makeup. She sat across from me. Show me. No small talk. I respected that. I showed her everything. The credit card charge, the ticket stub, the studio photo, Melanie's behavioral timeline. She said nothing, just absorbed it. I suspected, she finally said. He started working late, dressing better, looking for excuses to fight. I'm sorry. Are you? You look angrier than sorry. I'm both. She nodded. Good. Anger is useful. What do you want? Consequences, I said. Real ones. Not just heartbreak while they walk free. What kind? I don't know yet. But we're stronger together than alone. She considered that, watching rain blur the windows. I'm filing for separation, she said. And for child support. He thinks I don't know his finances, but I've been copying documents for months. When? This week. I was waiting to be sure. Now I'm sure. She stood, offered her hand. I shook it. If Melanie thought she could walk over me, I said, she's not ready for what 2 betrayed spouses can do. Juliana actually smiled. I'll be in touch, Austin. She left. I stayed with my cold coffee and the quiet realization that something had shifted. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was planning. And now, I had an ally. Melanie noticed the change in me. Anyone would. I stopped asking about her day, stopped suggesting plans, stopped caring about all the little selfish things I'd let slide for years. On Tuesday, she confronted me. What's going on with you? You've been weird since brunch. Are you still mad about that? I'm not mad. Then what? I closed my laptop and studied her. She was still pretty, but her eyes looked hollow. Maybe they'd always been. I'm tired, Melanie. Tired of carrying everything while you do whatever you want. I work too. Do you? I pay for rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, everything. I contribute. Show me one bill you've paid in 6 months. She bristled. I don't have to prove anything. This is my home too. Is it? You're barely here. And when you are, you're on your phone or asking for money to hand to your friends. Haley needed help. Haley is 40 and has a job. You just enjoy acting like the generous friend with my money. You're being unfair. No, I'm being honest. She snapped back. This is financial manipulation. I actually laughed. Right, I'm the manipulative one. She grabbed her purse. I'm staying at Haley's. I can't deal with this. Fine. She paused, expecting me to chase her. When I didn't, she slammed the door hard enough to shake the windows. I picked up my phone and texted Juliana. She's cracking. How's your situation? Her reply came instantly. Filed this morning. He doesn't know yet. Server goes to the studio tomorrow. Perfect. I set my phone down, pretending to focus on my report. But my mind was elsewhere. On timing, on pressure, on how the most effective revenge wasn't one big blow, but a series of small, precise cuts. Cole Haverly had no idea the week that was coming. I found Cole at a music venue Thursday night. Not coincidentally. Juliana had mentioned he was doing sound work for an indie band showcase at a place called The Underground, and I'd decided it was time to make my presence known. The venue was exactly what the name suggested. Basement level, brick walls, low ceilings, the kind of place that smelled like old beer and new ambition. A band was doing sound check on stage, 3 guys and a girl, all looking barely old enough to drink. Cole was at the mixing board in the back. He looked exactly like his photos. Expensive casual, that carefully maintained scruff. The leather jacket despite the warm interior. I walked up and stood next to the board, watching the band. Cole ignored me for about 10 seconds, then glanced over. "Can I help you?" he asked, annoyed. "Just watching. I like music." "Great. Watch from somewhere else. This is a work area." I didn't move, just kept watching the stage. The bassist was good, I noticed. Really good. The rest of the band was just okay, but that bassist had something. Cole sighed. "Seriously, man, I need space to work." I turned to look at him then, made sure he got a good look at my face. "You're Cole Haverly, right? The producer?" He straightened slightly. Pride and suspicion fought on his face. "Yeah. Do I know you?" "No. But I know you. I'm Austin Ridge." I watched it register. Watched his face go through surprise, then calculation, then that false confidence guys like him always fell back on. "Austin. Right. You're Melanie's husband. For now." He tried to laugh it off. "Look, man, I don't know what she told you, but she didn't tell me anything. She's a terrible liar. I figured it out myself." The band stopped playing. The venue was too small. They'd heard us. Cole noticed, looked annoyed. "This isn't the place," he said quietly. "No? Where's the right place? Your studio? The Velvet Room? That hotel downtown you probably think is discreet?" His jaw tightened. "You need to leave." "You're the producer, right?" I said, making my voice conversational. "Interesting. I didn't realize my wife preferred background noise." One of the band members laughed. Caught himself too late. Cole's face went dark red. "Get out," he said. I smiled. "Have a good show, Cole." I left. Behind me, I heard him snap something at the band, heard the sound check fall apart into confused murmuring. First strike, not literal, but real enough. Melanie didn't come home Thursday or Friday night. I didn't call, didn't text, just went to work, came home, carried on with my life. Saturday morning, Haley called. That surprised me. I almost didn't pick up. "Austin, what did you do?" she demanded. "Good morning, Haley." "Don't. Melanie's a mess. She's crying constantly. She says you're being cruel." "Is she there with you?" "Yes, she's been here since Tuesday." "Then she's your problem now." Silence. Then, "What's wrong with you? She's your wife." "She stopped being my wife when she chose someone else." More silence. Longer this time. "She told you," Haley said finally. "She didn't have to. I'm not naive. Neither are you, apparently, since you obviously knew." "Austin?" "How long have you known, Haley? How many brunches and girls' nights did you sit there laughing while she talked about him? How many times did you help her lie to me?" "It's not that simple. It really is. You're a bad friend and a worse person. Don't call me again." I hung up. Blocked her number. Felt nothing. That afternoon, Juliana texted, "Cole served. He called me screaming." I hung up on him. I texted back, "Good. Let him scream." Sunday passed quietly. I meal prepped for the week. Did laundry, went for a long run, came home and watched a documentary about wolves, went to bed early. Monday morning, I was halfway through analyzing water samples at the lab when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. "Austin Ridge?" A woman's voice. Professional. "Speaking." "This is Sarah Chen from Westside Property Management. I'm calling about your apartment at 2847 Maple Street. We need to discuss your lease." My stomach dropped. "What about it?" "Rent is due tomorrow, and we haven't received notice of payment. Additionally, we've had noise complaints from neighbors about arguing and disturbances. I'll have rent to you by end of day. As for the noise, my wife has been staying elsewhere. It won't be a problem anymore." "I see. Are you planning to continue the lease alone, or will you be adding another occupant?" "Alone." "Then we'll need updated income verification by the end of the month. Your current lease shows dual income." I closed my eyes. Of course it did. Because Melanie's name was on the lease even though I paid everything. "I'll get you what you need," I said. I hung up and pulled up our bank account. Melanie had withdrawn another $500 over the weekend. We had enough for rent, barely, but my savings were getting dangerously low. She was bleeding me dry even while living somewhere else. I made a decision, called the bank, had them remove her access to our joint account effective immediately, opened a new personal account, and transferred everything over. She could scream about it later. Right now, I needed to stop the hemorrhaging. Then I called a lawyer. The lawyer, Patricia Moss, had an office in a strip mall between a nail salon and a phone repair shop. That actually made me trust her more. The lawyers with downtown high-rises and leather furniture charged money I didn't have. "You want a divorce?" she said after I'd explained everything. "Yes." "Have you discussed this with your wife?" "No." "Does she know you know about the affair?" "Not explicitly, but she knows something's changed." Patricia made notes on her laptop. "Do you have evidence of the affair?" I showed her everything. She reviewed it all carefully. "This is good," she said. "Circumstantial but compelling. In California, infidelity doesn't affect division of assets, but it can influence spousal support decisions. I don't want her money. She doesn't have any. I just want out clean." "What about debt? Do you have joint credit cards?" "One. She's been using it. I can show you the charges." "Good. We can argue she's been financially irresponsible, which will help your case. Any children?" "No." "Assets? House? Cars?" "We rent. Both cars are in my name only. I have about $20,000 in retirement savings. She has nothing." Patricia looked up from her laptop. "Nothing at all?" "She spends everything she makes and then borrows from me to spend more." "That helps you. How long have you been married?" 5 years. California is community property. Anything acquired during marriage is split 50-50 unless there are extenuating circumstances. But with only 5 years and minimal assets, this should be straightforward. I'll draft papers. You'll need to have her served. Do you know where she's staying?" I gave her Haley's address. Patricia made a note. "This will probably cost you around $3,000 in legal fees if she doesn't contest it. More if she does. Can you afford that?" "Barely, but yes." "Then let's proceed. I'll have papers ready by Wednesday." I left her office feeling strange. Lighter, somehow, but also sad. 5 years of marriage ending in a strip mall law office. It seemed wrong, anticlimactic, but maybe that's how most marriages ended. Not with dramatic showdowns, but with paperwork and signatures and division of property. Still, I wasn't done. Paperwork was just the legal ending. I wanted something else. Something that would hurt the way her betrayal had hurt. Something that would make Cole Haverly understand he'd picked the wrong man's wife to entertain. I wanted revenge. Real revenge. And I was going to get it. Cole Haverly found me Tuesday afternoon. I was loading equipment into my truck after a site inspection when a black luxury sedan pulled up fast. Too fast for the narrow forest access road. The same sedan I'd seen weeks ago. He got out looking furious. Walked straight at me with his hands balled into fists. "We need to talk," he said. "I'm working." "I don't care. You went to my venue. You disrespected me in front of my clients. That stops now." I kept loading equipment. "Or what?" "Or I make you regret it." I turned to face him then. He was taller than me by maybe 2 inches, broader in the shoulders, but he stood like someone who'd never been in a real confrontation. Weight wrong, balance wrong, all posture, no substance. "You're sleeping with my wife," I said calmly. "You've been doing it for months. You've been spending money you don't have, money your wife is about to take from you in the divorce she just filed, and you're threatening me?" His face went pale. "What divorce?" "Your wife didn't tell you? She filed for separation last week. Child support, too. Seems she found out about your extracurricular activities." He took a step back. "You told her." "I didn't have to. She's smart. She figured it out herself. I just confirmed it." "You came to my work. You humiliated me." "No, you humiliated yourself. I just watched." He moved then. Not smart, not fast, just angry. He tried to grab my shirt and I stepped back, let his momentum carry him past me. He stumbled, caught himself on the truck. "Don't," I said. He tried again. This time I didn't avoid him. He got hold of my jacket and pulled. I grabbed his wrist, twisted slightly, used his own strength against him. Basic principle of leverage. He went down on one knee in the dirt. "Let go," he said through gritted teeth. "When you calm down." "Let go!" I released him and stepped back. He scrambled up, breathing hard, face red with rage and humiliation. "You think you're tough?" he spat. "No, I think I'm smarter than you. There's a difference." He stood there, fists still clenched, wanting to try again, but too smart to do it. "Stay away from me," he said finally. "Stay away from my studio. Stay away from my wife." "Your wife contacted me, actually, and she's not your wife much longer." He stared at me. Then he got in his car and drove away too fast, kicking up gravel and dust. I watched him go. My hands were shaking, not fear, adrenaline, satisfaction, first physical confrontation, not the last, probably. But I'd made my point. He was scared now. Good. He should be. Wednesday, Melanie finally called. "I can't access our bank account," she said. "No greeting, just accusation." "I know, I closed it." "You can't do that." "I can, I did, my money, my account." "It's our money, we're married." "Are we?" "Because you've been living somewhere else for a week and sleeping with someone else for months. Doesn't feel much like marriage to me." Silence. Then quietly, "How long have you known?" "Long enough." Austin. Just don't. I don't want explanations or excuses or apologies. I want you to sign divorce papers when they arrive and leave me alone." "You filed for divorce? What did you think was going to happen?" She started crying. The tears might have worked on me once. Now they just made me tired. "I made a mistake," she sobbed. "I know I did. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can—" "I don't want to fix it. I want to end it. Please. Austin, please. I love you." "No, you don't. You love the security I provided while you did whatever you wanted. That's over now." "Where am I supposed to go? I can't afford rent alone." "That sounds like a you problem. Maybe Cole can help." "Oh, wait. He's getting divorced too and paying child support. Maybe Haley will let you stay indefinitely." "You're being cruel." "I'm being honest. There's a difference." I hung up, blocked her number, felt nothing except relief that the conversation was over. Thursday morning, Patricia called. "Papers are ready. I need you to come sign them and provide payment for service." I went to her office during lunch, signed in all the indicated places, paid $300 for a process server. "She'll be served by tomorrow evening," Patricia said. "Once she signs, there's a mandatory 6-month waiting period before the divorce is final. If she contests anything, it'll take longer." "She won't contest. She can't afford a lawyer." "Don't be so sure. People do stupid things when they're angry." She was right to warn me, but I knew Melanie. She'd cry and complain and make me out to be the villain to anyone who would listen, but she wouldn't fight legally. Fighting required effort and money, two things she'd never been willing to invest. I left the office and went back to work. That evening, I got a text from Juliana. "Cole's apartment hunting. I made sure he understands he's moving out by the end of the month." I smiled. "How's he taking it?" "Badly. He keeps saying this is all your fault." "Let him think that. How are you doing?" "Honestly, better than I expected. The kids are confused, but they'll adjust. I'm just glad I don't have to lie to myself anymore about what kind of man I married." "I know the feeling." "Austin, thank you. For reaching out. For being honest with me. A lot of men would have just tried to fight him." "I'm still going to fight him, just not the way he expects." "Good. He deserves it." We texted for a while longer. She was sharp and funny in a dry way I appreciated. Under different circumstances, we might have been friends. Maybe we were already. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had led here. The early days with Melanie when she'd seemed fun and spontaneous, rather than lazy and inconsiderate. The slow erosion of respect and partnership. The thousands of small betrayals before the big one. How had I missed it? How had I tolerated it for so long? The truth was simple and uncomfortable. I'd been comfortable. I'd settled for less than I deserved because being alone seemed scarier than being disrespected. Not anymore. Never again. Friday evening, Melanie was served with divorce papers at Haley's apartment. I knew because Haley called me from a number I hadn't blocked yet, screaming. "You actually did it. You're divorcing her." "Yes." "She's hysterical. She can't breathe. What is wrong with you?" "Ask her what's wrong with her. Better yet, ask Cole Haverly." I hung up. Blocked that number too. Saturday, I organized a community ecological event I'd been planning for months. It was part of my job, coordinating with local residents about watershed conservation. We were meeting at a park near the river, setting up information booths and organizing a cleanup walk. About 40 people showed up. Good turnout. I was at our main booth talking to a retired couple about native plants when I saw Melanie arrive. She looked terrible. Red eyes, no makeup, hair pulled back in a messy knot. She was wearing sweatpants and a jacket, looking nothing like the carefully composed woman who'd mocked me at brunch 3 weeks ago. She saw me and started walking over. I excused myself from the couple and met her halfway, away from the booths. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "I needed to see you, to talk to you. You won't answer my calls." "There's nothing to talk about." "Austin, please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake. Cole means nothing to me. It was just, I don't know, excitement, attention, but it wasn't real. What we have is real." I looked at her. Really looked. She believed what she was saying. That was the sad part. She actually believed her own delusion that our marriage had been real, had been worth preserving. "What we had," I said, "was me doing everything while you did nothing. That's not a marriage. That's not partnership. That's me being your parent and your bank account. That's not fair. It's completely fair. You can't cook, can't clean, can't manage money, can't be faithful. What exactly did you contribute, Melanie?" She slapped me. Not hard, just a quick strike across my face that stung more from surprise than impact. People nearby turned to look. I heard murmurs, saw phones coming out. "I loved you," she shouted. "I gave you 5 years of my life. You gave me 5 years of stress and financial burden and emotional labor while you entertained yourself with your friends and your gossip and apparently someone else's husband. I made one mistake. No, you made 1,000 mistakes. The affair was just the only one big enough that I couldn't ignore it anymore." She started crying again, big dramatic sobs designed for an audience, and she had one now, at least a dozen people watching. "Please," she begged, "don't do this. Don't throw away everything we built." "We didn't build anything. I built a life, and you lived in it." That's when Cole showed up. I saw him before Melanie did. He came striding across the park like he was about to save the day, like this was some romantic movie where the hero claims his woman. He wasn't the hero. He was the other villain. And he just walked into my ending. Cole reached us and immediately put himself between me and Melanie, like I was the threat. "Get away from her," he demanded. "This is a public park, Cole. I'm supposed to be here. You're not." I came to make sure she was safe. Safe from what? Her own choices? He puffed up, tried to look intimidating. Behind him, Melanie had stopped crying, was watching us both with something like hope on her face. "You've been harassing me," Cole said. "You came to my workplace. You contacted my wife. You turned her against me." "I didn't turn her against you. You did that yourself." "You're bitter because your wife chose someone better." I actually laughed. "Better? You're a mid-level music producer who's about to lose half his income to child support. You're driving a car you probably can't afford and wearing a jacket that costs more than your monthly rent is about to. You're not better, you're just louder." His face went red. At least I know how to treat a woman. "By sleeping with someone else's wife? Yeah, real classy." The crowd around us had grown. I recognized several people from the community group. This was bad. This was supposed to be a professional event, and it was turning into spectacle. But I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. "You want to know the difference between us, Cole? I built something, a career, stability, a life worth living. You just take credit for other people's work and pretend you're important." He moved forward, put his hand on my chest, shoved slightly. "You don't know anything about me." I grabbed his wrist. Not aggressively, just firm, controlled. "I know you're scared. I know your marriage is ending. I know you're losing money you don't have. I know Melanie was just entertainment and now she's becoming a problem. I know you wish you'd never met her because it's costing you everything that actually matters." He tried to pull away. I held firm. "Let go," he said. "Not until you listen. You took my wife. Fine. Congratulations. But you don't get to act like the victim here. You don't get to show up at my event and pretend you're protecting her from me. You're the threat, Cole. You're the problem. And everyone here knows it now." I released him. He stumbled back. Behind me, I heard a car door close. Turned to see Juliana Haverly walking across the grass toward us. Juliana looked composed, professional. She wore slacks and a blazer, carried a leather folder under one arm. She walked straight to Cole without looking at anyone else. "These are for you," she said, holding out papers. Cole stared at her. "Juliana, what are you—" "Your child support payment schedule has been approved by the court. First payment is due in 2 weeks. Details are in here." She tapped the folder. "Also, I'm changing the locks on the house tomorrow. Your personal items are boxed in the garage. You have until Monday to collect them." "You can't do this." "I can. I did. Don't contact me except through lawyers." She turned to Melanie then, looked her up and down with open contempt. "You're Melanie," she said. Melanie nodded, looking terrified. "I'd say it was nice to meet you, but we both know that would be a lie. I hope he was worth it. I hope the excitement and attention were worth destroying 2 marriages and hurting 2 families." Melanie opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Juliana looked at me. Thank you, Austin, for everything. You too. She walked away, got in her car, and drove off. Cole stood frozen, papers in hand, face pale. The crowd was silent, everyone staring. I saw phones up, recording. I looked at Melanie. She was crying again, quietly now, no drama. You wanted a doormat, I said. Instead, you met the man who walks away. Cole charged then. No warning, just pure rage and humiliation driving him forward. He swung wild, and I stepped aside, let his momentum carry him past me. He spun, tried again. This time I caught his arm, used his own weight to take him down onto the grass. He struggled beneath me, breathing hard, face twisted with anger and desperation. I leaned close and spoke quietly, just for him. You took my wife. I took your future. Now we're even. I stood up, stepped back. Cole stayed on the ground, defeated, broken, surrounded by witnesses to his complete collapse. Melanie looked between us, her face pale, understanding finally settling in. She'd lost everything. Her marriage, her security, her lover, her reputation,